This isn't some get-quick-rich story. It's a story about a system. Everyone asks me how I find enough profitable phones to clear six figures a year. They see the sales, they see the stacks of inventory, and they just assume I've got some bot scrapping Facebook Marketplace 24/7. But here's the truth. You can't get to this level by just scrolling through local ads. I know, because I tried. I was completely stuck making a few thousand a month, grinding it out one phone at a time, until I found a wholesale supplier that changed everything. And today I'm gonna pull back the curtains and tell you guys the good, the bad, and most importantly, expose that website so you can do the same. That's if you want and if it works for you. Now, I won't be honest if I told you guys me doing this made me rich and it made me a bunch of money. The truth is that when I first started my first phone store, I did not have any phones in mind to sell, or maybe I just didn't have a way to source. I've already got my phone store from flipping phones and looking on places like Let Go and OfferUp and even Facebook Marketplace, buying those phones for cheap and reselling them to my customers. But I had one problem at that time. Well, the phones that I would buy, I would inspect and do my due diligence looking at the IMEI, but they would often have some type of defect that customers would come back and complain about later. And that would hurt my business because we would lose some of the brand trust. So I had to start looking at different ideas, and believe me when I say it took a long time for me to find this company. Now, this company was a company that I actually was able to visit because I did a lot of volume at my store at the time, but it was more so for repairs. What I did was I wanted to switch from just doing repairs to also selling phones. So I ended up saying, okay, I'm gonna buy phones from some company, and that company is gonna give me a good deal, and then I'll charge people on the back end for a 12-month or 24-month period, like T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon. Well, it worked and it was good, but there was some bad also, and we're gonna cover that in a little bit. But this website is going to be Resale Cellular. This website was a company sold phones that were actually refurbished, and I could actually source as a store owner or even as somebody that's just a plain old reseller. Let's make this clear. It did come with some negatives. The phones at times were really inflated, and I knew buddies that also brought phones from this company as well that had stores and also buyback businesses, and they said the same thing. It was times where I realized I wasn't making no profit, and I sat on phones that I actually couldn't sell. There were also times when they shipped me phones that were not the same grade as they specified it would be. And I get it. You know, these things come with business, but this is a lot of money that you have to kick out. Not even to mention that at the time they were requiring me, since I was a newer customer, to buy a certain amount of phones volume-wise a month. That was actually something was hard for me. It was kind of hard because I was a newer business owner just trying to find a niche, right? What did they actually require from me to start? So I remember this like it was yesterday. They required a reseller's permit, a business license, a EIN, and of course your LLC documentation. And I remember at the time I didn't have a reseller's permit, and I didn't even know that that was something that would be required, but I ended up getting it. If you plan on buying phones from this website, you're going to need your business documentation, your EIN at least, and your business license, because they're going to assign a rep to you that you're going to work with hand in hand, where they're actually going to be fulfilling your orders for you. Give you a regular order of operations. You need phones, you call that rep, or you place an order online. Your rep gets back to you, letting you know when they're shipping the devices. If you have any problems, you're usually going to be communicating with one person, and that person is going to make sure that they're managing your account. It's sort of kind of like an account executive. So that part is pretty cool because they can handle all of the issues that you may have. But again, if you're kicking out a lot of money for these phones, issues can be very detrimental to your business. This is the website right here. So just type in Resale Cellular. You'll see that you need to actually log in. I've already logged in. And as you see, it says buy wholesale phones in bulk. Now, I emphasize the bulk aspect. You do have to buy in bulk usually. I was able to finesse it a little bit because of the volume that my rep saw I had potential for. Obviously, it's just like a car salesman, right? They get paid. I'm talking about your rep that you'll be assigned from each deal, I believe, in the gross deal amount. So consistent inventory of wholesale cell phones and other pre-owned devices. Now, if I'm being honest with you guys, they say they have consistent inventory. Yes, no. I think they have the inventory that you would need if you are somebody just anticipating reselling. But I've found that sometimes they didn't have the phones that I needed. Accurate grading They've got better with this, but they weren't always accurate at the grading aspect, which we'll hop into in a second. And then global network. They say they ship all around the world. I've never tried to ship to customers via direct we sell cellular to customer. I've always got the phones. Shipping has never really been an issue for me. Never really got phones stolen or anything from them. All right. So when it comes to the grading, this is their scale, right? And this to me is where things got complicated for me. So you got new seal, you have new headset only. So that's going to be no accessories or box. New seal, you already know what that means. Open box comes in original packaging, but is not sealed. And then we have A1. Now, this is different from phone flipping, guys, and I want to make this clear. I don't approve of this grade scale. This grade scale is horrible in my opinion. A1 appearance, flawless at glance. Screen, very few, if any, faint scratches. So this is like basically brand new, perfect, right? But peep how they say very few, if any. A2 is few, faint small cracks, or scratches, excuse me. Not cracks, scratches. But then it says faint scratches, faint small scratches. So this is going to be still like brand new, but very small. Then you have RC1. Devices have been cosmetically reconditioned to enhance their appearance. They will have similar cosmetics to our B1 phones. This is where they start getting, and I'm gonna explain why in a second, I think, into like a lot of complex grading for no reason. There's a RC1, lightly used. Screen has few scratches or small scratches. Again, that sounds just like the A2, but okay. B1, lightly used. Screen, few small scratches. Housing bezels, several blemishes. So it's gonna have scuffs and may be scratched. When this company says something may be scratched, I'm gonna tell you it may be scratched. Then you have RC2, device has been cosmetically reconditioned. So what I see is the RC grade is more so like refurbished, right? But that B1 is more like they didn't touch it at all. Same thing for the A2 and A1. They didn't touch the phone necessarily, but when you start seeing the RC2, in my opinion, that just means they're touching it. They're actually going in and doing some alterations to the device. B2, used. Numerous faint and few pronounced scratches. Visible upon quick inspection. C1, polishable grade. Device in this category has screen suitable for polishing. They may show extensive or pronounced scratches. So C grade, they're going to show you some scratches. Peep how C1 doesn't have pictures. And I tell you guys this because when I break down the issue I have with this company, it has to do with this. C2 appearance, heavily used, right? This is a phone that you are going to have to do some work with. And then we're not going to go down the line with all these other ones right here. These are all horrible phones, horrible screens that you don't want to buy. Now, we're not even going to talk about tablets right now. I'll cover that in another video. I want to keep this video very straight to the point. When you're going to this company and you do sign in, you're going to have a list like this, where now you're able to look at different phones. Now, you know how I said that I'm covering a grading system because I had issues. Well, there was times where I got A1 stock and there were scratches, and then they say, well, yeah, we said it's very few. What I find is companies like this have a hard time establishing what section these devices should go into. So you will find that you won't agree with the grading all the time. You may buy an A1 device, but it may look to you like a B2, and you can't do nothing about it because they're standing firm on it. Now, they may give you $20 off your next order, which entices you to buy from them again, but that becomes very frustrating. But the cool things about this company is that you're able to get GSM unlocked phones. You can get locked phones. Of course, you got the grading, but they do have a good variety of phones in general. Now, they used to have the XRs, the 8s, the 7s. They used to all of these phones. But from what I see is that they started to just cut down on certain models that have become more profitable. But that also lends a real big contradiction, okay? Because when you look at this, You're going to see that a lot of phones are out of stock now because of the holiday season. But iPhone 14, they only have 2 in stock for the A1, but they probably are going to have more. They have 26, they have 22 for the RC1 stock, so that means they refurbish it themselves, right? Then you have the B1 stock, they have 56, so you could tell by the numbers right here how much they have. The most you're going to see right here is the B2. Now, I want to really talk for a second about when you're buying phones from these type of companies, you want to make sure you're not overpaying. So for an iPhone 15, right, if we went to OfferUp right now, right, we went to OfferUp for our iPhone 15, and this is how you really can gauge in your area if you're overpaying, in my opinion, right? I'm gonna go to recent. I don't go to eBay to try and see if I'm overpaying because that's not my area. But OfferUp can literally help me see what people are assessing certain phones to be worth based upon how they're trying to sell them, right? So I'm looking for a 15. So 15 right here is being sold for $150. This 15 being sold for $150, this person had this account since November 2017. This is a legit person. Now, as a reseller in general, oh wait, this is iCloud locked, so we're not even going to use that as an example because that's iCloud locked. iPhone 15 T-Mobile. This looks realistic. Okay. Yep, looks realistic. So this is not unlocked, right? So it's a locked device, $350. This person probably will sell this for like $260. The reason I say that is because when I go and look, when I go and look at how they're trying to sell me an iPhone 15 128 gigabyte A1 stock for $345, let me go main screen, man. That is absolutely insane of a price, right? Because if you think about it, if I'm going to go ahead and get this, right, for $345, look at this. Let's say I had to get my account executive with this company said I had to get at least 5 phones. If I got $345 times 5, I'm kicking out $1,725. But I'm not going to make that back. And if I was going to make that back to a reasonable profit margin, what you guys think we should actually make off of these phones? If I'm kicking out $345, I want to make at least $100 profit. So you're saying I got to buy this and then sell it for $4 something, right? Like $450 at this point, right? But that, in my opinion, is unrealistic for iPhone 15 when somebody can go ahead and get an iPhone 16 for that price. So what I started to realize is the A1s are out of play, especially for sellers like us, right? So then I started going to B2, and I started selling only B2. Now, when I started selling B2, I got a little discouraged, and this is why I stopped buying from this company, certain phones, especially for my phone store. Now, I want to make this clear. If you're a phone store, there are ways around this. All you got to do literally is start your own installments, right? Like have people put money down, have them come to your store, pay off the phone. They don't even care or realize they just they got a new phone. But when it comes to me trying to buy a B1 or a B2 phone, an iPhone 13 256, they're talking about they want $260 for an iPhone 13. If you go on OfferUp and just look at iPhone 13s, right? You can see that that price right there. You have somebody, this is a store right here. They're selling theirs for $280, right? Why would I even try and take that gamble? Which I could and make what, a $50 profit, a $60 profit, maybe even just a $40. But then again, who wants a 13 nowadays? So, you know, when you're using this website, I say all of this to just say be very careful because you can get a cheaper rate by going with locked, but again, sometimes the price won't change. And then sometimes with an unlocked, they'll be a little higher, but again, it's not worth it. Now, at the time when I was having this issue, they didn't have this one feature that they actually put here because business owners like me were having this problem, and that's going to be buy/make an offer. So with this website, the cool thing that you can do is you can actually make an offer. So I could say, yo, I'm gonna buy 5 of them at $150, and I can add to cart and make that offer. Now, offers are reviewed 3 times a day, 9:30 a.m., 12 p.m., and then 2 p.m. So you can make offers, they'll respond to your offers, that to me is a really cool feature they added. So that fixes the situation where you're overpaying for phones, especially in your demographic and in your area. So you just have to be really, really careful. Now, me personally, if I was somebody that was instructing you guys on how to actually do this the correct and proper way, you got to start with research. Market research, especially for your area, is important, because if you're buying these phones, don't expect that you're going to buy them and then sell them on places like eBay, because eBay has high competition, man, high. So I would be honestly misleading and lying to you if I told you that selling this on eBay is going to make you money. It's not, because these are just like phones that they're trying to make extra profit off of. They're a buyback company. They work with price lists like Atlas, right? And they buy the phones from sellers like me and just add a tax on them and then resell them. That's why they don't sell any new phones, because this is not a company that gets new devices. This is a buyback company. So buyback companies obviously are trying to make a 40% or even a 50% profit margin on the devices that they are selling. So guys, that is going to be this website. If you guys want more information and want me to do more videos, like this video, man. Make sure you guys like the video, and also comment below, would you or have you worked with this company? If you have any questions and want to know more about my experience, I definitely am open to answering any questions. I'm here, guys. I'm here to help you. And I think that this is something, especially at this time of the year, to help you guys understand and see the benefit in. Because again, we can make money doing this, but we have to do it very carefully. Now, I've lost $5,000 with this company at times, and I also have made 10 grand. So this has been a profitable company and a profitable situation for me, especially as a store owner. But as a reseller, I do buy phones less often and rather use the route where I go on OfferUp or other platforms and just source these phones on a personal level with other consumers. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys comment. Everybody that comments is going to be entered into my raffle that will be on the week of December 20th. You just got to subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified when I do go live for that raffle. I go live, it literally says raffle announcement. On that live, I'm just going to be putting in the names of everybody that has commented on all of my videos leading up to that date week, okay, or whatever date I go. It's going to be the week of the 20th. I can't tell you exactly what day. Maybe Christmas Eve, but I'm going to be giving away 30 wholesale products. Okay, that is going to be what I'll be giving away. That's for you guys to resell, or maybe even for you to keep, right? So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. I love every single one of you. Keep making money work for you and stop working for the money. Definitely consider subscribing if you want more phone flipping and reselling content. Peace.